Okay, in this video, I want to kind of talk about what the boat modification actually cost, and I want to do this because I think it's important that people understand really kind of what the costs are. I felt that I did my boat fairly economically. I've seen other people who do carpeting and pure aluminum structures and all sorts of stuff, but they never really talk about how much it actually costs and does it actually equate to being worth it or not. And so I want to kind of touch on that. I have seen some videos where they talk about the cost, but I want to actually break it down. So, one of the things I started off with is sitting up here with the trailer. The trailer I bought last year, brand new, for $1,000, and that was because at that point in time I wasn't planning on doing this. I was just going to have something to haul my little Power Catch 100 around, which I ended up selling. So I was now stuck with this trailer. It was brand new. I was never going to get my money back out of it, and it was kind of set at 12 feet. So because of the trailer, I was kind of stuck with the size of John boat I could actually get, which I was pretty much stuck with a 12 footer. A 14 or a 16 I think would have probably been a little bit better. But that's what I was stuck with, and that's what I decided to work with. But after that, I said, okay, no more buying stuff new. Because when you buy things new, it immediately depreciates and you just don't make any money off of it. And so I'm not doing this to make money, but I'm just saying that your return on investment just isn't really there. Not that I'm going to get a return on investment anyways. But anyway, so I bought the boat and the trolling motor used. The boat was in really good shape. The trolling motor wasn't so much. I got the entire thing for $650. I think I paid a little too much for the trolling motor, in my honest opinion. Now that trolling motor, brand new, cost about $400. I paid about $250 for it. Probably should have only paid about $200 or maybe $175 for it. It wasn't as in great a shape as I was initially thinking, but I wanted it, and I could get them both as a kind of a package, so I did it. Retrospect now, not so sure. Same with the boat. The boat was a 12-foot John boat, but it was a little bit narrow. I mean, it was only maybe a 36, no, not even that, maybe a 32-inch base to it. It was a little too narrow for what I wanted. It's an older John boat, probably built in the 80s or maybe even the 70s, and some Montgomery Ward Sea King. So I was a little hesitant at first. I almost didn't buy it. But I decided to go with it because I thought, well, I really wanted one that had a bigger base to it because obviously that makes stability. But I knew I had my pipe idea, and so I thought, well, I can make the thing better. As far as the motor goes, I got the motor for $350. It was actually initially posted for $5. He knocked it down for $350 the next day, and I grabbed it right away. One of the problems with this is I bought it sight unseen. I really didn't know if it was going to work or not, but it's a Honda. It was in pretty good shape. I thought probably be all right. The only thing I really find that's wrong with it is it started right up when I did it. Is it has a exhaust leak on it. So if I put the cover on it, it stalls out. And something I'm gonna have to fix myself whenever I won't do it now because I'm using it, but probably maybe in the fall I can see about fixing it. So right now I just have to take the cowl cover off, and it runs just fine. So those three items right there, that basically just give me the boat, the trolling motor, the back end motor, and the trailer. That was $2,000 right there. And then I started to save for the build, and that was back in the fall. So I saved my money, and I figured $1,500 would probably be it. Well, not even close. Okay, so if you come down to my final total here, $4,530 later, I'm done. And when you discount the $2,000 I initially spent, so it's actually $2,500 is what it cost me to actually do this conversion. And for the most part, everything that I bought had a purpose. I didn't buy anything and then not need it anymore, or decided to change or whatever. Pretty much it was there. And so it comes to the question, when you look at this number, and I look at the number and I think to myself, okay, I could have just went out on Facebook Marketplace and I could have bought a very used, but definitely could have bought a used bass boat for less than this, or for this easily. There are a whole bunch of them out there in various condition levels, but runnable condition, workable condition, where they would be just fine. So that's where you really have to think about it, and I had to think about it and think, did I really do something that was smart at all? Because I could have gotten a bass boat, and had that with a trailer and everything, and been fine. And I think that's open to debate. I think it just depends on what you're looking for. For me, I loved the project. I love the challenge of the project. I love having to figure out the different issues with it. The other thing that I like about what I did as compared to like buying a boat. One, if I would have bought a boat, say I bought a boat for $4,000, okay? Now that's where I'm going to start, and then the upgrades I do start building on top of that. When with this one, I bought it for $2,000, and that included the trailer. So now everything I was doing is building upon that. So there actually is a significant cost difference there, even though, granted, it's not the same thing. It's not an apples for apples comparison. But what I like is that the boat that I have now, basically, it's just a John boat. That's the shell. That's the core shell. It's nothing more than an aluminum boat. And I can take that and do anything I want with it. So if I don't like the design I've done with it, and sometime later, or maybe next year or whatever, I decide, hey, I want to change it. I want to do something different with it. I can do that. It's not like I'm stuck with, okay, now I'm stuck with this type of boat. And no, I can strip that whole thing right back down to the shell it has and start over again or do whatever. And also when I was adding things to the boat and doing things to the boat, because I knew how I built it, I mean, everything was able to be installed pretty easily. I can drill holes, I can do this, whatever, because it's just wood. It's just wood that I built on top of a shell. So from that standpoint, I really, really liked that. The other thing is weight. Okay, so you can see right here that my boat weighs 439 pounds empty, and that has a couple of advantages for me. One, my vehicle can only handle about 1,500 pounds. Okay, so I don't want to be at a boat launch and launching a boat, because most bass boats on average weigh about 1,500 pounds. Trying to launch a 1,500 pound boat with a vehicle that can barely handle that. I just thought that was not really such a great idea. Not only that, but hauling it down on the expressways and things like that. The other thing is by having a lighter boat, it's much easier for me to maneuver around if I need to. I mean, I can push this thing, granted it's on a cement, concrete base, but in my garage, I can push this thing around easily. There's really nothing to it. And when I had to actually take it off the trailer once, it was simple for me to do. It's not like I had to go to a marina and have them lift it off, or go to someone's house and hope I can just let it go in the water for a while, because I don't have those options, okay? What I was able to do was basically take the pontoons off it, take the motor off it, take a few things out of it. It took me about a half an hour, and I just took about 200 pounds off that boat. And now it's a lot easier for me to move around and to fool with. I was able to get it off the trailer, I was able to get it right back on the trailer without really having to fool around. With just taking some things off of it. So it's very easy for me to work with. It's very easy for me to, change things around or do whatever. Also, from a maintenance standpoint, there's not a lot to it. I mean, really, you think about it, it's the boat motor. What's going to go wrong on this boat? Two things: trolling motor or the back motor. That's it. The rest of it is just what it is. It's just a boat. Unless it breaks a hole in it, it's going to be fine. So from those perspectives of, one, having the fun of the project, two, not having a boat that weighs quite as much, I kind of like it. So is this a win? I'm not going to say it's a win, because again, it's not an apples to apples comparison, but I had a lot of fun doing this project. I learned a lot out of it, and that's the biggest thing. And I'm kind of proud of what I have so far. So for me, it was a little bit more money than I thought it was going to be. Probably ended up costing almost $1,000 more than I thought it was going to be, which is significant. And I want to make sure that people who are watching this video kind of think about that. Because if you think about doing a project like this, it's really good to sit down and really kind of think it through. And, which of course I was off on my estimates, and think you're probably going to be off on your estimates too. And in the end, what are you going to have? And so when I see some of these boats that are being built that are pure aluminum boats, and outstanding boats. I mean, these guys modify these John boats just tricked out to no end. I'm super impressed. Far, far superior to what I did. But I also think, what did it cost them to do that? And you start getting into, $4,500 is one thing. You get into 10 grand or 15 grand, you're getting into almost what a new boat would cost. And so now you really start to go, is this really so much worth it? But to each their own, it's whatever you have fun with. I mean, I think if someone wants to spend, $15,000, even $20,000 building a boat themselves and having fun with it and making their own project, then hey, that's fine. It's everyone's personal choice. But I just wanted to take this video again to kind of show you this is what my boat cost me. It would have probably been a little bit less, but not much, if lumber wasn't so expensive, because that was part of it. But other than that, and the flotation stuff that didn't work out so well for me. So yeah, at most, if things were maybe not as expensive as they are now, and I didn't do the flotation thing, that cost would have been probably $4,200. So it would only save me about $300. It wasn't going to be a huge deal. And as far as going forward with the boat, I'm happy with it. But the only thing that I might do different later, and I have to really then think about whether I want to do this or do I want another boat or whatever. Is the motor is not quite big enough to push the boat really good. It does a fine job. I can get from point A to point B, but it probably needs a 15 horsepower over a 7.5, and I don't know. That's where I really got to decide. Okay, well maybe you better start looking just getting a used boat. I don't know, but anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video series. I'll probably be putting some more out of it being on the water, but I want to just go over the cost to just kind of let me so everyone know this what my build cost me. That's it.